Hello everybody, I am Eric Jose on YouTube, and today we're here to talk to you about Brendan Dassey. This is a quick video to kind of give people who may have heard about Brendan Dassey or heard about him but don't really know much. Well, this video is meant to be short and to the point and give you the basics of what happened with Brendan in his interrogation and why you and everybody else should be outraged about it. Brendan is a mentally limited juvenile. When he was 16 years old when this happened. For those people who, for whatever reason, haven't heard about Brendan yet and don't understand why what happened to him is so heinous, this video is meant to help clear that up. The first clip we're going to go into right here is going to kind of illustrate one of the main issues with Brendan's case. Is number one, there's no forensic evidence against Brendan. Zero. None. Number two is his confession. And right now you're going to hear the assistant Attorney General of Wisconsin, who at the time was the prosecutor in this case, in Brendan's case. He's going to make a statement that is provably false. So we'll move into that and we'll come on back.
People who are innocent don't confess. The defendant confessed because he was guilty, because he did it.
Okay, to quickly give you an idea of the level of falsehood in that statement, the Innocence Project has been putting out numbers of their exonerations and things like that. And here's a fact for you. For mentally limited juveniles, the Innocence Project put out this number. They put out this statistic from all their exonerations, and that is this. Amongst mentally limited juveniles who were interrogated by police that they had exonerated, 8 out of 10 of them had given a false confession. So, when you hear Tom Fallon there telling you that innocent people don't confess, he's lying. He's lying in a court of law. And he knew he was lying. He's seen the numbers from the Innocence Project. He knew that was a lie. But he said it anyway. This was the very first, well, among the very first interviews with Brendan. It's not recorded, so I only have a transcript here. But it's basically watching these officers endearing themselves to Brendan. And these are the words of the lead investigator from the Department of Justice, Tom Fassbender. I'm here to give you opportunity to get this off your chest. Mark and I, yeah, we're cops. We're investigators and stuff like that. But I'm not right now. I'm a father that has a kid your age too. I want to be here for you. There's nothing I'd like more than to come over and give you a hug, because I know you're hurting. Yes, I want to give justice to this and to the Hallbox too. You want to tell me what you saw, what you heard. This seems highly improper to most people who realize that Brendan was a mentally limited young man, and these men were not only trying to be like grandfatherly, they were like trying to assert themselves as his father, which I think to do that with a mentally limited kid like Brendan, you're playing with fire. Okay, so as you see, they're like making Brendan feel like they're his friend. This is all friends, yeah. So misleading a kid with the mental limitations Brendan has is a problem. So we'll move in now to what we're going to be looking at with the interrogation video. You're going to see the things that they say to Brendan. You're going to see how Brendan reacts to things. But mainly what you're going to see is how they're grooming him. In these first couple clips, you're going to see how they're grooming him. Brendan told a consistent story until these guys came and broke him from it and started fact feeding him.
And we've had also a chance for 2 days now to look at what you said and listen to tapes a little and stuff like that. And we look at that and we say, well, Brendan honestly gave us this information, that information. Maybe I'll call them dots or whatever. And some of the dots, when we look at it, say, well, I think we need some matching up here, just a little tightening up or something. We feel that maybe, I think Mark and I both feel that maybe there's some more that you could tell us. And I want to assure you that Mark and I both are in your corner. We're on your side. Because Mark and I looked at the tapes, looked at the notes, and it's real obvious there's some places where some things were left out or maybe changed just a bit to maybe looking at yourself to protect yourself a little. From what I'm seeing, even if I fill those in, I'm thinking you're all right. Okay, you don't have to worry about things. I don't know if Mark has something, so I'm just going to give you an opportunity to talk to us now and kind of fill in those gaps for us.
Honesty here, Brendan, is the thing that's going to help you. Okay, no matter what you did, we can work through that. Okay, but we'll stand behind you no matter what you did. Okay, honesty is the only thing that'll set you free.
The big takeaway on that, in a lot of ways, is, do you notice how they were talking about the previous interviews with him? They were going over the tapes. They were going over. We got these dots. We'll call them dots. Well, some of these dots need a little tidying up, or need a little matching up, or maybe you need to change something about them or whatever. They're basically molding him, continuing to mold him, and they don't see why this is a problem with a mentally limited juvenile. And he's going along with it because Brendan is more suggestible than 95% of the population. He was evaluated by a psychiatrist, and that is what was determined about him. That means he's more suggestible than 95% of the people around you, around in the world. I mean, that's a significant figure. You know, particularly because he's 16 too. I mean, most kids at that, most young men at that age are still somewhat suggestible, still shaking off their adolescence. Anyway, so we're going to move into the next part now, where you're going to actually see Brendan, where they're basically trying to push him to say something that they want him to say, and, well, I'll let you see.
Because we think
Very important.
we know what
Have to
happened.
be truthful.
We know what happened. It's okay. What did you do?
I ain't doing nothing.
Brendan? Look, Brendan. Come on. What did you do?
What does Stephen make you do?
And that's how it goes with Brendan's confession. Whenever he tries to revert back to the truth because he thinks this thing's getting way out of hand, then they come at him with, you need to tell the truth. Come on, Brendan, as you heard Mark Wiegert saying to him right there. You know, he said it kind of like terse. Didn't it seem? It seemed that way to me the first time. He was like if he was all, oh, come on, like, I'm sick of going through this. Well, that's because you're trying to coerce an innocent kid. What did you think? But anyway, I mean, that part to me is just speaks volumes, because they're sitting there browbeating him, and he eventually goes, I didn't do nothing. And then they're immediately jumping on him like, no, be honest. Oh, come on, Brendan. But, you know, this is the mental conditioning that they were putting him through the whole time. These next couple clips are going to illustrate how much Brendan really was counting on the fact that these were his friends, that these investigators were telling him the truth, that he could fill in the gaps, and that he was going to be okay, that you know, he'll be okay, and all that stuff. And here is where Brendan begins to realize that these officers weren't his friend, and it's far too late at this point. Far too late for him at this point. But he's now realizing that he's not going to be going back to school, and you're going to see fully expected to go back to school. So you're going to see a progression of clips. As you're watching these next few clips, think, you know, ask yourself, with all the problems that they were having with Brendan, the way that you saw kind of Mark Wiegert get kind of terse with Brendan when he said, I didn't do nothing, when he tries to tell them, look, I didn't do nothing, you see how Mark Wiegert almost, I mean, he struggled. I saw a little micro expression on his face where he was struggling to hide frustration. Why is that? With all the clear problems they were having with Brendan, why did they not bring in a youth advocate for him? Now, Tom, also, this is another thing people should know. Tom Fassbender and Mark Wiegert claim to this day that they did not realize that Brendan was mentally limited. That they didn't realize that. They spent an entire weekend with him before this interrogation that you're seeing now, and they didn't pick up on it. Other thing to ask yourself in these coming clips: does Brendan understand his Miranda warnings? Does he understand what his Miranda rights are? And does he understand what is happening to him in this interrogation. Ask yourself, how much does Brendan understand, but also with particular, specificity on his Miranda warnings. Did he really understand his Miranda warnings?
You sure? Mm-hmm. You ate that whole pizza the other night. You sure you don't want another sandwich? All right. It's going to be just a bit, okay?
Am I going to be at school before school ends?
Probably not. I mean, we're at 2:30 already. And school's over at what, 3?
3:05.
3:05, yeah. No.
What time will this be done?
Well, we're pretty much done. You know, we may have a couple of follow-up things to ask you, but it's pretty much done. Brendan,
Go ahead.
what do you think is going to happen? What do you think should happen right now?
I don't know.
You know, obviously, that we're police officers, okay? And because of what you told us, we're going to have to arrest you. Did you kind of figure that was coming? For what you did, we can't let you go right now. The law will not let us. And so you're not going to be able to go home tonight. All right?
Does my mom know?
Your mom knows.
Your mom is here, okay? Would you like to talk to her?
Yeah.
Do you have it before we bring her in? Do you have any other questions right now? You do understand that you're under arrest now?
So could I call my girlfriend and tell her that I couldn't come today?
We'll give you an opportunity to do that. Okay? Did you kind of, I mean, honestly, after telling us what you told us, you kind of figured this was coming? Yeah?
Is it only for one day or?
We don't know that at this time.
So when they ask him, you understand you're under arrest, he's first of all talking about wanting to let his girlfriend or, the girl that he was supposed to meet after school know that he can't come. I mean, he's about to go to jail and prison, and these are the things going through Brendan's mind. So then he's asking, is his mom know? Then when they're asking, do you understand that you've been arrested or whatever, he says, is it only for one day? To which Mark Wiegert lies and says, oh, we don't know that at this time. Oh, you knew. You knew that he was going away and he wasn't going to get out tomorrow. So that was just a lie by Mark Wiegert. So this is what Brendan was going through in these interrogations. The next thing we're going to move into here is when his mom comes into the room. I'm going to set this up a little bit by telling you early on in the interrogation, the investigators asked Brendan if he had anything bad to say about his uncle Steve, who they believe he helped. This is their whole theory. Okay, so they say that Steve could start putting stuff on you. They start suggesting that Steve could talk and start incriminating Brendan. In this clip, you can tell that idea stuck with Brendan because of the question that he asks his mother.
Yeah, but I got a question.
What's that?
What would happen if he says something, like his story is different, but he says he admits to doing it?
What do you mean?
Like, if his story's like different, like, I never did nothing or something.
Did you? Huh?
Not really.
What do you mean, not really?
They got to my head.
Huh?
I didn't say anything.
Were you pressuring him?
Who are you talking about?
Him.
What do you mean pressuring him?
When talking to him.
No, we told him we needed to know the truth. We've been doing this job a long time, Barb, and we can tell when people are telling the truth. And in my opinion, he'd never be able to live with himself if he didn't tell somebody. There's no way he couldn't live with that. Nobody could live with that.
So, you heard Brendan saying, what if he said something different? What if he said he did it and I didn't do nothing? Okay, he's now thinking about how Tom and Mark told him earlier that Stephen could incriminate him. And he's taking that idea and he's flipping it around where Stephen could do the opposite and basically decriminate him, essentially. That's kind of what Brendan's thinking. He doesn't realize that they're never gonna do that. He doesn't realize that. He doesn't have enough experience in life to realize that ain't never gonna happen. Even if Stephen did that, he's still going down. They're not gonna let him go. So yeah, that's where Brendan's at. I mean, that's just the tip of the iceberg there. And I'm gonna do follow-up videos on this for those who are interested that have not heard about Brendan. I'm going to do some follow-up videos to kind of show people some of the basic things that happened in his interrogation that just show how obviously flawed it is. It's just so flaw-ridden. It's just completely flawed in almost any sense that you look at it. They feed every pertinent fact to him. Everything. And now, he does spit them back on his own, but the fact is that before he spits any of these facts back at them, the facts were suggested to him by the investigators before he said them. And it's like that throughout the entire interrogation. This is why it is so clearly obvious that Brendan was coerced and is innocent. Because like I said, there's no forensic evidence against Brendan either. They just went after Brendan, in my humble opinion, they just went after Brendan because they knew he was mentally limited and they knew they could push him around and bully him and get him to confess, and that would help them seal the deal against his uncle. That's really what happened here. So, for those of you who are interested, who have not heard of Brendan, stick around for the follow-ups. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe.
Did you? Huh?
Not really.
What do you mean, not really?
They got to my head.
Were you pressuring him?
Who are you talking about?
Him.
What do you mean pressuring him?
When talking to him.